Okay, so here is how to set up your stationery files for the project, and I can also demonstrate the imprint. So here's my company, Infotech Branding. As you can see, I have an Illustrator file, and it has all the logo files and some other information, and then here are Photoshop files. So this is my whole project folder. Any text I gather or data from the website, or I put into a Word document and put it into this text. So when I'm setting up a folder and I've just completed a logo, I want to have all the different file formats. So the JPEG and PNG could be for the website. A PDF might be to send to an embroiderer, as well as the AI file would be to, a silk screener or someone who needs vector art. So those are the two files you would need. And these are in the Pantone colors. It's a good idea for the brochure, which is going to be CMYK, not Pantone, to, let's open a file, to convert it over to CMYK and save that file separately. So if I look at my colors, here are my colors. To save a CMYK version of this, so you always start with Pantone, and that way you can save out and change. It's harder to go from CMYK to Pantone. You have to match, and it can be strange. It could be hard to match it perfectly. Where if you have the Pantones and then turn it to CMYK, it'll be an exact match. So you just need to throw those away and do a file save as. So this you would save for the brochure or anything that's just straight CMYK, and then label it CMYK so you know the difference between the other logo files. So that's one thing to do. Let me undo that. Now again, just to reiterate how to do the swatches. So you have your swatches palette, you go to the library, and it'll say other library. And if you've downloaded that file that's in the module, this Freetone ASE, and that is a library file of color. So we open that, and then you get a palette and you can pick your colors. Now, once you've picked your colors, you want to delete any other colors that you might have been thinking about in your file. You don't want to confuse people who might get your logo file and they're not sure which blue you meant. So if I had added these colors and I decided on these two colors, I want to make sure my file is clean and I have deleted unused colors, just like that. So now it's time to do the letterhead and business card and envelope. So I'm going to create a new file. You can do File, New. And I'm going to start with the letterhead, 8.5 by 11. If you want bleeds, you can add it. You can also, and you want CMYK because this is a print job. You want to do Command R for your rulers. And if you forgot to do your bleeds, you can just go to here and do document setup, and you can put them in here. So here's my file. Here's my Freetone colors ready to go. Anytime you have that out, anytime you open a new file, it'll stay there until you delete, if you get rid of this palette by clicking X. So I have all of these stock colors, and I don't need any of these because this is a Pantone job, not a CMYK job. So I'm going to select them all. I'm holding Shift, and I'm going to delete them. Some of them you can't delete, so I don't know why this is out of order, but we're going to delete those, and we're going to delete the brights and the grays. We only want your Pantone colors. It's okay to keep black and white. All right, so now don't place the Illustrator file into another Illustrator file. Select it and do a copy and a paste. You don't want to do file, place, and then select an Illustrator file because now it's a picture and you can't do anything with that. So you don't want to do that like this. See how it's a picture now? If I do Command Y, you'll see it's no longer vector. So we don't want to do that. You want to copy and paste and then group this if it's not grouped. As you can see, this is too big for the file, so we have to scale it back. In general, when you're doing letterhead, below 2 inches, so let's put some guides up, is kind of the max. And you want to have about a 1/2 inch up from the bottom. And of course, we're doing word templates, which is what people want anymore. And the word template, you can't type below that, and you don't want the printer, like when they print their letter out, to cut off. So it's best to do a 1/2 inch. You can do a 1/4 inch or a 1/2 inch guides on the side so that you're not putting important information beyond that. And as you can see, this tagline is too small. So I'm going to ungroup this, and this can be separated and enlarged. It doesn't always have to be with the logo if that's a little too big. It can be down here, centered, so you might want to put a center mark, so it's 4.5, 4 1/4, and then have this up here. And then you would have your information. Let's center that. And you can see with the smart guides on, it'll help you make sure that's in the right place. So if I go to the Word document that I had already began, you can see here, I have the office, website, and email. And again, this is under the 2-inch mark. You could keep it like this. You can do it any arrangement you'd like. Don't have any text below 9 or above 12. 12 is, especially with this font, it's very big. So make sure you have the formatting correct for your office, website, and email. You could put a W, you could put an E, you could put an O. You could make this blue or black or whatever you'd like. See, now this is why I like to have the files without the default colors. You have to scroll and you have to look for your own colors. So we're just going to delete that. It makes it a little easier to see. If we delete everything and clean up the file, and now we just have our colors that we're going to use. It's best to use the 2 colors that you have, which is the gray and the blue. So I'm going to highlight that and make it gray, and then maybe office is blue and bold. And we can look at the paragraphs and the character. Make sure this doesn't have parentheses. You want to have your leading to be different than the default. All right. When you're looking at addresses, see, that's too dark. I'm going to use white. You want to make sure you have it set up like this, or let's make this black. There we go. If you have it stacked, you want this to be the first line, and then Suite 300 on the next line with no commas. It can be DR period, and then Pittsburgh, capital P, capital A, space, and then the zip. Okay, and this is the arrangement that you'll need for the letter, for the envelope too. It could be like this. It's a little bit spaced out, so let's see. We have space after, so let's take that off. This is a unit all to itself. So if I have this and your phone number block, and again, we'll make that gray. You can separate these because it's 2 different types of information. You have your, phone-based and web-based information here, and then your, brick and mortar address. And most times, it's not a store. You won't need to have that so prominent. With a farm, you would want people to know where they can find you. So you could have this information down here. You could have no bar. You could have this here, copy and paste. If I made this larger and screened it back, no more than 10%. So let's find our color. Let's find color or appearance. Let's go to color. There we are. No more than 10% if you're going to do like a watermark in the center, which is a nice look. So you can do that for your letterhead. So keep in mind that you want to no more than 2 inches down, because then the person's going to have this type of room for their letter. So you want lots of room for the letter. And that's why we keep things off to the top and to the right and left, or at the bottom. So that is up to you. You could add, like I showed, a bar. Now the thing is, the project is a Word template. So what you're going to do is bring that into Word. So any bleed that you could have a print version where this is going to bleed off, and the printer would cut this down to size, to 8.5 by 11. But in the Word template, it's going to leave a white border because it's not going to print all the way to the edge on a desktop printer. So you may want a different version, or just don't have bleed at all, and avoid the issue altogether. So let's say we don't want this, and this is going to be gray. Okay, there we go. And we're ready to make our Word template.